Today I've had the chance to make an interview with the singer-songwriter John C. Warwick, and it would be nice if you could introduce yourself briefly to those who don't know you yet.
Hi, I'm John Warwick. I come from Poplar, East London in the United Kingdom, and I'm a singer, songwriter, composer, arranger, and producer. Because of my inquisitive dyslexic mind, I put energy and feelings into the music. Studying Nikola Tesla's mindset, I learned to use color sound.
Let us know what motivated you to become a musician. Was it a childhood dream or certain artists that inspired you?
Well, I think I found music. I was suffering with depression around the age of 21, and I was working in a paper mill at the time. And I met three friends that would give me new CDs each week to listen to. So I'd listened for about 8 hours a day. And by the age of 26, I was watching a friend play Blackbird by the Beatles, just fell in love with the melody and the tone, and then I just decided I wanted to be a songwriter.
How would you describe the music you do?
It's hard to describe my music because I write in a lot of different styles. I'm mostly rock in a classical style. I love like the 60s and the 70s with a modern twist. I have punk, reggae, jazz, pop, rock, acoustic folk style songs, and even some classical pieces. If I had to say genre, I'd probably say alternative rock and folk.
Which bands or artists inspire you?
Most of the old bands and artists, Pink Floyd, Humble Pie, Led Zeppelin, Bob Dylan, The Kinks, Neil Young, The Beatles, The Rolling Stones, Rory Gallagher and Deep Purple, a lot of blues. But I guess I'm getting more into the indie music scene, so I'm getting inspired by Delirium Trees, Portobello Express, Jam Taco, Porcelain Assembly Line, Man Eat Grass, Vic 20, Wild Horses, and My Achilles Heel. There's a lot of good guitarists like acoustic and electric, and there's a lot of good bands out there at the moment. But at the moment, I'm working with Shane Hillman, so I get to hear all of Caught in the Crossfire stuff first. It's good music that inspires me a lot.
Who influences your music?
There's many different aspects that influence my music. From the songwriting point of view, there was Paul McCartney of the Beatles, Ray Davis of the Kinks, David Bowie and Bob Dylan. From the singing point of view, it was John Lee Hooker, Howlin' Wolf, and Johnny Cash. But musically, it was Pink Floyd, Nick Drake, Rory Gallagher, Bob Marley, Humble Pie. Just a lot of different areas that influence my music.
Which famous artist would you like to perform with?
Oh, I'd definitely like to perform with Roger Waters, Dave Gilmour, Paul McCartney, Ray Davis. Most of the artists I like have passed away, like Frank Zappa, Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Steve Marriott, and Tom Petty.
Is there a special venue where you would like to perform?
Definitely Wembley Stadium. When I was growing up, I didn't live that far from the stadium. We could hear Queen, Michael Jackson, Live Aid when they were in concert. You could sit in our back garden and you could hear it all. It was kind of like our local venue.
You are an independent artist. What do you think are the advantages and disadvantages about that?
Well, Martina, the advantages is I like the freedom to make the music I like. That's a big thing for me. But the disadvantages of not having that big label to back you, you have to do a lot of the work yourself and it's time consuming. It's probably 90% of actually doing music, so that takes time away from the creative process. Plus, the cost is very big when you're trying to get merch, CDs, and recording studio time.
What do you think how much the internet has changed the music business?
I don't know how much it has changed. I guess with the streaming platforms, it's a different way of getting your music out. But I don't think streaming is a big thing. A lot of people chasing numbers. I'm more interested in building a fan base, and with the internet, it's sort of more of a global game. I talk to musicians and fans from all over the world. It gives you the chance to collaborate with anybody in the world and to connect with fans in different places that have never had the chance to hear your music before.
If you could change something about the music industry, what would you do?
Well, Martin, of everything, I think it should all be torn down, rebuilt again. It's an unfair industry. And I really wouldn't call it an industry. It's more of a business. It's in the art of making money and not music. If you take the small guy and the indie artist and the small radio station, they really don't stand a chance. And this is because of a lot of the restrictions that have been put in place. And this is because of the big companies' abuse on music. I think the music business should look into a grassroots system that actually helps the smaller stations and the indie artists to springboard into a bigger areas. But like I said, it's greed and money. That's what they want, and they don't really want music.
What makes you happy, sad, or mad?
What makes me happy? Music in general, listening to it, making it. I love reading and studying and traveling, and definitely having an understanding girlfriend. What makes me sad is the way musicians act. People that show off, most of them have no talent, in my opinion. Plus, there's a lot of women that sell themselves short by acting sexy to sell their music. It's not an image I would want if I had a daughter. I would do it on musical talent and hard work. What makes me mad? People that talk about money, fame, and the need for a hit. This all comes in if you make good music, in my opinion. Good music comes from the heart. It's not for soulless artists.
Tell us what's next. New songs or an album? What are your plans for the future?
Well, at the moment, I'm studying a lot to do with producing, composing, and I'm trying to get a deep understanding of the program I'm using, Logic Pro X. I'm working on an album and I'm bringing 4 or 5 singles out this year from that album, and I'll probably ask people to collab on it. I'm also collabing on projects with a couple of artists and musicians alike, just trying a lot of different stuff.
Well, thank you for the interesting insights and the conversation, John. Good luck for all your upcoming projects.